So we're gonna do this one for like the rap pack and shit. Is it recording? Alright, for the real hip hop motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out to Bobby, my engineer.
So it's finally here, man. We finally made it. Logic's sophomore album, The Incredible True Story. Now, I understand that it didn't come with a movie, and that was kind of disappointing. But if you throw your headphones on and close your eyes and listen to it, it basically is a movie. It starts off with Kai and Thomas, in the ship, and basically setting out to find a planet which is called Paradise, because Earth has, been destroyed for whatever reasons, in 2065. And if you pay attention to the first track, it actually samples Kanye's Amazing, just reworked in a way. And you have them on a ship talking, and they setting out to, find a planet. And within that, they, Kai was like, listening to some oldies, and like, what oldies? And like, Logic. Like, what you mean Logic? Then it goes right into track 2, which is Fade Away. We all know this song. We heard it. It was funny that at the end of this track, though, that the AI, kicked in and was like, yo, the system's like, you could talk to anybody. So they asked, I think Thomas was like, yo, I want to talk to Big Sean. And, Big Sean was like, what's up, Kai, little bitch? And that shit was funny, you know what I mean? But the intro to the album goes into Fade Away, and Fade Away actually goes into the next track, which is Upgrade. Basically is, in a way, it's a braggadocious track. The new hymn beat was crazy. I definitely enjoyed the background vocals about life, his rap career, just an overall good song. Then it goes into track 4, which is White People. It's another scene where it's the year 2039, and it's basically they found another ship, and they like, what? How could there be another ship out there? But then, they go and listen to the audio from the ship, and basically it's telling them to stay away because there's nobody alive. Basically, is no survivors. And so from that scene, it goes into like, whoa, which is crazy because it's like we heard this song as well, but it's still a good record, jazzy soulfulness, you know what I mean? The sample is crazy, and then towards the end of the record, it got his crew members talking again about, want to get to Paradise, this planet, and they trying to, listening to the music throughout the progress of going into, happiness or whatever, meaning in paradise. So you go from there to track 6, which is Young Jesus with Big Limbo. Dope, back on his Bar Fest, whatever you want to call it. Then it goes right into track 7, which is Intermission. It's kind of crazy because it's like he's remembering a story in his mind, because you got to look at it as it's the year 2065 or whatever, or 20 whatever. And this is an old album. It's the album that basically changed the world, the shape of it and everything. And, it's a skit inside the song about the galaxy and about paradise, like a little kid is getting interviewed or whatever. But basically, he's still rapping. He kind of paid tribute to Nas in the song in a way, because it was like a line or two that he kind of reworked in his own way, and it was about his life, his childhood, and I thought that song was crazy. And then it goes into I Am the Greatest, which is one of my favorite songs. It's basically about fuck the haters. If you don't like me, fuck you. That's basically what it is. Definitely got a dope beat, the sample. You can hear the Drake influences. He talks about his critics, you know what I mean? He speaks on his rap skills and things of that nature of why he feels he's the greatest. Goes into track 9, which is the cube, the Rubik's Cube scene where Kai is playing like with the Rubik's Cube or whatever, and it's like, yo, what are you doing? It's like, yo, I get a lot of pussy from playing with this. Pause, you know what I mean? Yada, yada, yada. And that shit was funny. Then it cuts off and goes into Laura Willing, basically an uplifting track about chase your dreams. I definitely enjoyed the production. You can say J. Cole, you can hear the influence in it. He speaks on his work ethic. Definitely has a great flow in his song. Background vocals are dope as hell, man. Pretty dope. Moving on to track 11, which is City of Stars. He finally kind of spoke on the race issues. It got that flashy lights vibe. melodic flow. It switches from, the melodic flow to him actually spitting 16. He talks about Def Jam, the record label, the hip hop industry. He name dropped a few people and even stated he didn't want to do it, but it was for a purpose. And I definitely thought that was pretty ill. Going into track 12, which is Stainless featuring Drea or Drill, whatever, however you want to say it, it's back to that bouncy type beat. His flow is there, good content. Definitely enjoyed the hook. It's about materialistic type shit. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he still did what he did on the song. Now it goes into Babel, which is another scene. Kai and Thomas are worried about what if they destroy the new planet Paradise that they're there. You gotta remember it was 2065 before Earth basically destroyed itself or whatever, and they worried about what if they go there and mess that planet up as well. And then it goes into track 14, which is Paradise, featuring Jesse Bokens the third. In the first verse, he actually talked about race. He didn't talk about it on his previous album. He stated that, but on the first verse, he definitely, talked about race and the way he looked at it as he don't get credit for certain things because of how he looks, and he doesn't, fit the, I guess the genre model of looking a certain way to be considered a dope rapper. Then the beat switches and it gets into the second verse about, him growing up, making it out of a bad situation where he grew up from. And I thought that was pretty incredible to see that. And to me, that's one of the most best tracks on here that stands out the most, because I never thought he would actually speak on it, because he always stated he doesn't need to get into all the politics about the race card and everything like that. Moving on to track 15, Never Been. It has similar subject matter, as previous songs, but, he talked about the haters, critics. I definitely love the piano chords at the end. Definitely love the dope sample, and the message within the song is basically don't give up. That's what I took from it. Going into track 16, which is Run It, dope. You know what I'm saying? To me, it just sounds he coming for the crown. I don't give a shit who you are, what rapper you say number one. I'm coming for it. You know what I mean? That beat, that sample, the way it flows in and out. You know what I mean? And at the end of track 15, you kind of hear him in the studio working on the song Never Been, and then it just like Run It, and then it goes into track 16. So now we hear at track 17, which is Lucidity. It's another scene. It's about dreams, them looking for paradise. They want to, escape Babel, which is, I guess, the spaceship that they're in, and they're having conversations about, not wanting to, be the way things are. They want it to be different, you know what I mean? And I thought that was pretty dope, just the conversation they was having. And then it finally gets into the last track, which is the longest track on the album, The Incredible True Story. Great instrumentation throughout the whole song. Definitely has a good flow. I definitely like the excerpt that's in the middle of the song before it gets to the end of the record with Kai and Ty and the AI, reaching the planet, Paradise. And at the end of it, you just hear it. The countdown starts and they finally get off the ship, and they like, you hear the birds chirping and the waterfalls and all that, and they like, what is that? And then the AI says, life. And then the album ends. Incredible. You know what I mean? Each song in this album transitions well into each other. It brings you into a world he created, basically, with a cinematic approach. I definitely get his album a 10 out of 10 all the way through. Another incredible album, in my personal opinion, and this should be considered, album of the year, but a lot of people probably won't give him his credit, but I had no problem with it. Production phenomenal. Every song is on point. It's not a filler song on here. It's just definitely 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion. Some would say a 9 out of 10, but the more you listen to it, definitely 10 out of 10. I listened to this the day it leaked. Then I bought it on iTunes, so that means Friday it got on my phone. I've been listening to it ever since, back and forth. Even when I went to pick it up, I've been playing it nonstop to make sure it wasn't nothing I was missing from anything. But like I did state, the songs that he kind of put out, Fade Away and like Whoa and Young Jesus, you can kind of tell those were the songs he really wanted to put out to get people amped, because it fits in the story, But then if you can just tell that those were just the records to get people pumped. But overall, Logic did a great job with this album. I'm stoked to see what he gonna do the third time around to top this album. But a lot of people probably won't throw this in a top 10. They'll probably discredit him. I definitely want to hear what Dead End Hip Hop has to say about this album because I thought it was dope. I didn't think it was cheesy or corny at all, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. You know what I mean? But shout out to everybody who purchased it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'm out.